What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to run through all of my Sorare lineups, some guys that I think you should be targeting for your lineups, and also some scouting I've been doing ahead of the potential All-Star weekend, and some things that Sorare might be doing with the NBA side of things. If you are new here and you aren't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like on the video, and also leave your Sorare name in the comments down below, because if we do win in the Common Champion, we win a limited card, I'll be giving it away to one of you guys, so make sure your Sorare handle is down below. Without further ado, let's get into my lineups. So then we've got a new slate of games and competitions that have been put on from Sorare on the NBA side of things. This week we now have Veterans as our sort of limited time game mode. We've had No Cap, we've had Underdog, we've had limited Eastern and Western conferences, but this week I should say, not this year. This week it's Veterans. Essentially with the Veterans, I believe it's over 30 and over. I believe it's 30 and over, but they've also got rid of the tab above where you could see the articles about these. But I think it's over 30 players and over for this competition. For my Rare Champion team, looking through my gallery here, I've got some decent picks this week that I can go for. Some of my cards are in weird L10 states, and by that I mean normally you'll have guys that will be under the radar and they'll over project their L10, and they're the guys you always want to target. But unfortunately, if they keep over projecting their L10, it's going to correct itself and it's going to overtick eventually. And this is where the situation is with a few of my cards. Like Gary Trent Jr. should not be a 36. He's not a 36 L10 player. Mikal Bridges, of late, he's been putting up really consistent scores, but again, 39 is really high for him to outperform it and go off of it. And I'd even argue Jaden Ivey at 27. I know he got 43 the last game, but he's not expecting to get that regularly. So as a result, it always is a pretty straightforward one for me. Anthony Edwards will be my MVP. He always is going to be my MVP for as long as he's in my gallery and I don't buy a sort of Jokic rare or Giannis rare or someone along those lines, which isn't going to be happening anytime soon. Jaylen Brown for an L10 of 40 with the 2 games that he's got. I'd expect him to at least put up 40 in one of these games, so I'm not expecting him to go under this here. I would expect a 50-point Sorare game on this. The Detroit games are probably the best bet for this for obvious reasons. And scrolling through my gallery here, I don't really like the look of Mikal Bridges at 39. I think it's just too much for what I've got. Jaren Jackson Jr. on the 1 game, no. Gary Trent Jr., no. Aaron Gordon is a doubt as well. I think he missed, or he's touch and go. He could get scratched late notice, so I'll leave that as well. Jeremy Grant at an L10 of 31 is really, really low for him, and he's projecting really well. So I'm going to throw Jeremy Grant in. That leaves me 24 with 2 spots left. Now, I think I normally would have gone for Markelle Fultz and Jeremy Sohan in this situation, but Jeremy Sohan has already been ruled out of the game on Monday against Chicago. So I don't really want to risk it that he might come back in and play the Toronto game when I'm not sure he even will. I don't think they'll take the chances. I think it was a back issue that he's got. So if I play Markelle Fultz, I can't reach Jaden Ivey or Wiggins. And I really like the look of Andrew Wiggins in these 2 games, especially with Steph out. He's not been putting up the best of scores since he's realistically come back. He was doing really well towards that mid bit, and also the start of the season. I know you can't see it go far that back before he got injured, but he was doing really well as well. L10 and 27 slow, OKC and Portland, good games for the Warriors. They're going to need to win. I don't like the fact that it's away though with the Warriors. His L10 is going to keep coming down a little bit, if I'm honest, especially that 5-pointer. So if we throw him in, that leaves us 22. So I could play Joe Harris, but I'm going to use Joe Harris, I think, in Contender because I don't trust him that much in Champion, even with 3 games. He might only get sort of a 25 or a 30 at max, and that's not really good enough. And as such, I'm going to leave him for Contender. So Andrew Nembhard's probably going to be the guy I use, and even then I'm not ecstatic on him because he's been putting up terrible scores. That's Joe Harris, but he's been putting up terrible scores recently. I don't know why this is. Is it going to work again, or is it still bugged? No, it's going to work again. Nembhard can get in and around the 20s. He's a player that normally will start well in the sort of first quarter, second quarter, but he'll then go on and he'll score like a steal and an assist, and he'll accumulate his points that way. He's never an end game realistic high scorer. He had that game against the Warriors, but that was a fluke one. So yeah, I mean, I'm not ecstatic about this lineup, but there is scope for it. So like I said, with Rare Contender as well, I'm not really in a great spot, I think, with my teams, but you never know on Sorare. It can always surprise you. Joe Harris is an instant one, 3 games, L10 of 17. Even though he's not putting up the greatest, I'll take the gamble across 3 games. He's going to be a play for me. Markelle Fultz, definitely a goal. Markelle Fultz will also be a guy that I throw in here. 2 games for the Magic. They've had a lot of people out. His rotation will be, I don't know how much it will affect his usage rate. I know Kyle Anthony was the one that popped off, but an L10 of 25, I'd expect that to be the absolute floor, especially the game against the Knicks. I'm hoping for sort of a mid-30s performance, and this is what I'm going to need from these sort of guys this week on Sorare specifically, not a 30-point game from Markel Fultz. Caleb Martin will be a guy I use. I know he's only got one game, and I know it's against Indiana, but he's come back into the Heat, and he's looking a bit better now. He seems to have shrugged off those injury issues that he had. He's been nailing a few threes, and obviously with Caleb Martin, you can get some defensive points and defensive actions from him as well. So if he can get in those 30 marks like he's got the last 2 games, very, very solid scores there. That leaves me 24 with 2 left. Now, Kevin Knox is a guy I've got, and I picked up the other week, and he sort of got, I think I picked him up here when he got that 19 mark, and he was getting a bit more into the rotation. This is only ever going to happen with Kevin Knox if the Pistons realistically are either 1, getting absolutely torched and it's in garbage time, or 2, guys miss out and Kevin Knox comes back into the rotation. There is scope for this to happen in both of these games, in my opinion. It's complete. There's no factual evidence around this. I can see Boston wiping the floor with Detroit. I can also see Cleveland wiping the floor with Detroit. So I'm going to throw him in. That leaves me 38. Just miss out on Mikal Bridges, which is quite frustrating because I would rather play him than Jaren Jackson Jr. But I am going to play Jaren Jackson Jr. on the basis of that. 1, he's just been on a tear right now defensively. He's probably the defensive player of the year if you stopped everything right now. And as a result, I mean, Chicago's big men aren't exactly great. He'll have no issue defending Vucevic, I think, on any occasions. So there is scope to get sort of another 4 or 5 block game. If he gets 8 rebounds and scores 20 points, then you're looking at that high 30, low 40 point game. It's not great with an L10 of 37, but it's the best that my gallery's got. I might see if I can put a trade together because Jaden Ivey will be appealing this week. If Aaron Gordon is declared fit, he'll be appealing this week. Even RJ Barrett, I know he's only got 1 game, but against the Magic, that'll be a scoring game, I think. So there's potentially some trade packages I can put together. So I might scout it out a little bit close to the deadline, but we'll wait and see. Right then, moving on to Limited Champion. I'm slowly trying to move away a bit from Limited, is how I feel at the moment. I still think there's value there, but I don't think it's as much of a risk of an upside that you get in the rare sort of things. I think the shifts between prices are a bit more volatile at the moment. And this is everything new. This is the first season in the NBA. They're not drastic and this is not scaremongering at all. But I just think at the moment for me, I'm trying to focus more on the rare side of things. I know I said my gallery is not looking great for this week, but I mean, this is so rare. You'll have weeks where your gallery, you don't like the look of it as much and it could surprise you. In any case, Joel Embiid will be my MVP. I will always hold this Joel Embiid card unless he gets to a silly value. Now, Ja Morant was ruled out and scratched off with a wrist injury. I'm not sure what his news is right now as of Chicago, but even in any case, I'm not sure I'd play him. Vucevic has got 3 games. There is always scope for Vucevic at the moment to be getting a 50-point, so rare performance. The Spurs game, you know, there's always a way in which he can hit those 60s or even potentially that 80-point mark. 9% training on him as well. I'm going to play Nikola Vucevic. So I know he's also missed a couple of games now due to personal reasons, but if De'Aaron Fox is back and there's notable information that he won't miss one of these games, the 2 games at Houston, then he's a definite play for me. I think even though he's at an L10 of 42, the 2 games against Houston are really, really appealing. There's scope for him here to get in that high 50s, 60s against the Rockets. That leaves me with then 16 left for 2 positions, which I don't mind on Champion. I think you need these big guys. Trey Jones, I think he's a really good pick, but again, I'm not sure if he's available this week. So I'm going to go with Bol Bol on the premise that my Bamba's out. Hopefully he sees a bit more of an uptick in minutes and usage, and you know, an L10 of 14 is quite low, so I'm happy to take the gamble on him. I know he's dropped off a bit out of the rotation, but Mo Bamba being out and a few other guys, you never know. And then also Terrence Mann. The Clippers game here, I think that there's going to come a time where Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are just rested. They've been playing, I think it's like 7 or 8 now. And that's Doug. I don't know why it does this on So Rare, where it shows you a different guy, because I'm sitting there bugging thinking Terrence Mann's not got 12, 9, and 7 in his last few. If we go back onto it, is it going to work now? There we go. So there is always scope for Terrence Mann to hit a 20-point, low 30-point game in this. The game against the Nets and the Mavs, both those teams have just gone through trades. So I'd expect the Clippers to sort of go in there, and I know they're going to have new guys and new guy bounce and everything, but I'm expecting the Clippers to go in there and put a dominant performance on. Terrence Mann, L10 of 17, he should have an upside projection on that anyway. So yeah, I quite like this limited champion lineup. If De'Aaron Fox is ruled out, it will completely change. I'll probably try and get Bradley Beal in instead of using him in Contender, which I'm planning on. But Bradley Beal, even though he's again questionable, so there's scope that he might miss out anyway. But for now, this will be my limited champion lineup. So this is where I also think you can go for some I know betters than projections, because at the moment, when I was scrolling through my lineups, Doug McDermott is projected to be sort of doing quite well this week. He's projected sort of in the 20 mark, but I can't ever see it happening. Not now, not at the moment. I know they're playing Chicago and Toronto, but I just can't see it, and I don't really trust him for it. Whereas Grant Williams has got more of an impactful role, I think, on the Celtics, and then it allows me also to get in Duren, Bill, and Valanciunas. I would like Drew Eubanks, but I might shift him on this week. He's got the 2 games against the Bucks and the Warriors. He's projected really well, but he has got a slight questionable tag with a back strain. If I can fit him in another way, I might do it closer to the deadline if I find some trades. But at the moment, this will be my limited contender lineup. It's not going to set the world on fire, but Bradley Beal, 30. I know he's doubtful, but even if he plays one of these games, he should get more than 30. Jalen Duren, 27, same thing. Valanciunas, 1 game against the Hawks, but 26 is too low for him. And Trey Mann, an L10 of 10, and he's got 2 games. Once both of these games, they could easily get blown out, and as well the Thunder. 27 and 25 scope against the Rockets. I know he only got 6 against the Warriors, which is what they're playing again. But for these low L10 guys in my gallery, I'm not playing him over Luke Kennard. I don't care. So this will probably be my limited contender lineup, unless I can make a move that sees me shift one of these guys about. Right then, for the common champion team, this is the lineup where if I do win a limited card in it, this is where I'll be giving it away to one of you guys. So make sure you leave your Sorare handle down below in the comments. Make sure you like the video and make sure you're subscribed. And if we do win, you'll be in for a chance to win that limited card. Now then, for the team. Giannis Antetokounmpo, L10, 51, playing against Portland and the Lakers. He's been on a tear recently, easy MVP. I would go Luka Doncic, but with everything that's going on with him, I think he's scratched anyway for the Jazz game, so he might not even make that and or the Clippers game. He's a bit of a lead for me. LeBron is a really tempting one, but I don't think, I mean, he's chasing that. He's going to get the record in one of these 2 games here. I can't see him doing it against the OKC on an untelevised game. I think he might play in it, but he won't be breaking the 35-36 that he needs to get it. So I'm hesitant on it, because I think then 1 game against the Bucks, he will be getting a 36-point game in one of these, so he's a banker in that regard. Actually, you know what? How can we do it? If we go LeBron, we put Giannis in the team as well. I did want LeBron's mate this week, AD, but I don't have an AD, which is the killer thing. I don't think anyway. Do I have an AD? I can search here. If my keyboard wants to work, there we go. No, I don't have an AD, so no Anthony Davis. If you have an AD, play him this week. So as I've said before, you always need guys in these champion lineups what can be your enabler. You're only ever as good as the worst player that you've got. Now, it's Isaiah Hartenstein's L10 low is still at an 18. What's his recent scores been looking like? Yeah, there's scope for him to nearly double this, and against the Magic as well without. I'll play Isaiah Hartenstein and see where we go from there. That then leaves me 25 with 2 spots left. DeMar DeRozan is going to have an unbelievably high usage rate this week, potentially even Zach LaVine as well, because of these 3 games. Now, DeRozan, I think, will be putting up better scores than Zach LaVine, but as I've just mentioned before, I'm going to go with the outlier on Zach LaVine. That leaves me 14. What does that afford me? That affords me a TJ Warren. He's out injured is the only issue with that one. Doug McDermott, like we've mentioned before. Day'Ron Sharpe. Day'Ron Sharpe's been getting some minutes recently. Could go for Day'Ron Sharpe. There's also Derrick Jones Jr. or Doug McDermott, like we've said before. I like Day'Ron Sharpe, so we're going to go for him. Let me know down below. Would you play Day'Ron Sharpe, Doug McDermott, or TJ Warren to complete out this lineup? For now, we'll settle with Day'Ron Sharpe. And then this is my common contender lineup, and this is my common veterans lineup. As the title of this video says, it's all-star scouting, so this is just a little heads up because it's a little bit away, but you know, there's enough time now to potentially get in ahead of the curve if any of this stuff gets announced from Sorare that they're going to run competitions. I don't think they'll do stuff like the dunk contest or the 3-point contest or the skills challenge, but I think there is scope for potentially there to be an all-star contest around the all-star game itself, but also the Rising Stars game, and this is where I like the look of it a bit more. What I've been trying to do recently, if I'm looking to make a semi-big purchase in terms of bringing in someone onto my gallery, I want to make sure that I've got them for quite a long time. That's why I've not really been interested ever in buying like a Chris Paul long run or anything of the rare variety or above. It's all right if you do it for a limited to play them and flip them, but I'm more looking at guys towards the younger side of things for longevity of holding them in your gallery. So as you can see from the little graphic here, these are the guys that have been selected that are sophomores, rookies, and G League. Obviously, the G League guys not on Sorare, not applicable anyway. All of these guys here I think are all solid pickups in the limited rare and super rare category. They are normally anyway. Like Paolo Bencaro has been really good. Jalen Duran's been good. Jaden Ivey, Kessler, Matherin. Keegan Murray was at the start. He's fallen off a bit. Same thing with Andrew Nemhard. He was at 180 quid now. He's like 50 quid now. Jabari Smith Jr. as well, Sohan, and Jalen Williams to the extent as well. And then obviously some of the sophomore guys that have been in the league for a little while that we know about already. I mean, this is something that definitely can happen. They do like to throw in special weekly tournaments, and I will be shocked if nothing happens with the All-Star break on Sorare in general. I can't tell you what it's going to be, but my prediction will be that the easiest way they can score things will be having games between, or having competitions based off the All-Star game and the Rising Stars game, because they're the two formatted actual NBA games that are played. They might do something different, but this is how I would recommend getting prepared for. Don't obviously invest. None of this is financial advice, but just do what you can afford to do. Don't be silly with it. Do your own research before, but this is everything that I would suggest. So yeah, that's going to wrap that one up there pretty much. There are all my lineups on the screen, just like here, as you can see. If there are any changes that you'd make to them, let me know down below. I'm also going to be looking to try and move some of my limited cards and stuff. So if you want to send me offers, feel free. My name is Galeja_ on Sorare. So ping them over. Obviously, don't make silly offers. We all know what a silly offer is. They're no good for anyone. They just waste everyone's time. Make sure you are leaving your Sorare handle down below, like I mentioned before, because if we do win in this common champion lineup here, I'll be giving away that limited card to one of you. So make sure you comment down below, like the video, and you're subbed. And yeah, that's it. I'll catch you in the next Sorare video. Thanks for watching. Peace.